Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're going to revisit a topic today about, why people warn about healers. My husband recently told me that I make it look too easy on this channel, that I don't give enough warnings, I guess, about cattle dogs. I have done a video previously before about why do people warn about healers, and some people completely understand what I tried to say in that video. Other people do not, and they don't even finish the video. But anyway, so yeah, I might make it look easy, but I've also had healers for almost 20 years now. So I definitely know the breed. I've had 7 in my life, 5 we've actually kept, the other 2 were fosters. So I definitely have a decent knowledge on how they are and how they can be and what to watch out for, etc. So here are my warnings that I still give to this day to people about why you shouldn't get a healer, or maybe things you should think about before actually taking the jump and getting one. So I guess my first warning or reason why you might not want to get a cattle dog is because they are a high energy working breed. They are bred to work cattle. If you don't have cattle for them to work, they need a lot of physical and mental stimulation. Like, they need things to do. You need to be creative. You need to be active. So if you're a person expecting this dog to sit around 8 to 10 hours a day on the couch, that is not going to happen with this breed. You're going to end up with a lot of behavioral issues, not giving them what they need. They have a very high work drive or prey drive. I know that's a debate for another day, because I know some people say prey drive and work drive are different. Some people say it's the same. Either way, they have a high need to chase stuff, to nip it, and work. Like, that's what they were bred to do. So you have to come up with activities for them to give them some sort of purpose. Now, I've talked in previous videos before that, sometimes they'll even come up with jobs on their own to do around the house. They will find little things, that's their job in their mind. But you have to make sure you're giving them all the physical and mental things they need to make sure that they're happy. A bored cattle dog is not a happy cattle dog. If you're constantly at work or you like to go vacationing all the time, this is not the dog for you. They want to be with you and their family unit. They do not like change very much, and they want to stick with their work routine. Like, it's not a dog that you just leave on its own for hours and hours on end. And I think this goes for any working dog, not just cattle dogs. Any working breed, you're going to have more issues with if they're bored, if you're not doing the training with them, teaching them what they need to do and not to do, and things like that. Let's talk about the nipping. The nipping is my other warning to people about this breed. They will nip your ankles. They will nip your wrists. That is what they are bred to do, is to nip the heels of cattle. So they're going to do that to you. And I have said in previous videos that you need to train it out of them. That is poor words on my part, because words are hard. And I've since made sure I've used my words correctly and said you have to redirect the nip. And that's what that is. When you're teaching them not to nip you, you have to redirect them into something else. If you don't have cattle, you have to, redirect that nip to a toy, a ball, or something. Like, there's a lot of different training methods to get them to stop nipping you. But let me be very clear, you will never train nipping and hurting out of them completely. I'm sure you probably could if you take it to an extreme bad level of dog training and abuse the poor dog, but it's naturally going to be in them permanently. They're always going to want to work. They're always going to have that urge to nip. That is what they were bred to do. I mean, I have in previous videos shown, my scratches from Sully. I've talked about bruises. You will get bruises and scratches from raising a cattle dog. Like, when you're training them not to jump on you, like they jump hard and it hurts and it leaves bruises. Even when Clea was a baby, she was my worst one out of all the healers I've ever had about nipping my ankles. And she did it so bad on the steps one day, and I was trying not to step on her while I was coming down the steps, and she actually tripped me and I fell down a flight of steps. Not saying this happens with all cattle dogs, but pre-warning, you will get injured raising this breed, even if it's a little bit. Like, every single one I've had has caused an injury, whether it's small or, on the scale of Clea, where she knocked me down the staircase. Another warning I give to people is also how protective they can be, because they are very protective of their property. They're very protective of their family unit. They're really protective of their person. They can actually become a little too protective if your spouse is nearby, so you have to work through that as well. They're not going to be the happy-go-lucky dog that greets everybody that comes to your house. Every cattle dog I've had has had different levels of how social they are, and I try really hard to make sure I socialize them all the best I can when they're young, because when you get an older healer from, say, a shelter, if they've missed that opportunity, it's really hard sometimes to re-socialize them to a certain point of safety, I should say. Not everybody wants a dog that protective. I do. But they're also very capable of learning when to protect and when not to protect, if that makes sense. But it takes a lot of time in training them. You know, and on their social skills, and here's another warning, I do not recommend cattle dogs for people with multiple kids or multiple cats, because I don't know your level of dog handler expertise. Yes, these dogs can be great with kids and they can be great with cats. You see how mine are with our cats. I personally think it depends a lot on that dog's specific personality and how much socialization they got when they were a puppy. But even my girls who are very social with children, they still get freaked out on certain kids. Like if a kid comes on a, you know, roller scooter, they freak out. You know, if a kid makes a sudden movement that they don't like, they will stand up and do their warning snap. And most people don't know how to handle that. And another warning I give people is they're not always going to be great with other dogs. This breed is not very social. They just want to be with their person. And yes, there are exceptions. Some are more social than others. But when you're thinking about getting a cattle dog, don't automatically think it's going to be okay with other dogs in the household or other dogs out in public. The reason my situation works so well is because I have the time. I have the time to be here. I have the time to train them daily. If you do not have time, and like when I say time, I'm talking like you don't go on vacations anymore. If you go to a family's house for a visit, you're like, oh, I gotta leave in 2 to 3 hours so I can get back home. You know, like I devote so much time to these dogs. I think that is the main reason it works so well here, is because I have invested so much time with them. I can't stress enough that this works best if you have the time for them. They are also a very independent type dog, in my opinion. Like they like to do things their way. You know, the joke of, you know, I do what I want. That is a true thing with cattle dogs. So if all of this still sounds good to you and you are still looking at getting a cattle dog, do as much research as you can, whether it's watching this channel or whether it's, you know, Facebook groups. Of course, some of those I don't really like what they say, but, you know, listen to other healer parents and what they've gone through with this breed. And I think my number one reason why I warn against people getting this dog is I hate how many I see get dropped off at shelters. They cannot handle the nipping, how much work it actually takes, how much exercise it actually takes for them, and they end up dropping the dog off at a shelter. That is my number one reason I still warn to this day to not get a cattle dog. So I apologize if I make it look too easy, but again, I've just had enough experience with the breed to where it turns out like this. I definitely understand why people say that this breed is not for everybody, and I also understand fully why people say that if you're a first-time dog parent, to not get this dog. But my first dog as an adult was a cattle dog. It just happened. But what I did was make sure that I researched her breed, and I did everything I could to make sure she was happy. I really went into crazy research mode on my first cattle dog, and you know, the rest is history, so to speak, and now we're here where we're at. I would always suggest trying out one first, and don't necessarily get a second one unless, you know, you've got a good handle on dog handling, because, you know, watching out for, and that goes for any multi-dog household, there's always going to be piffs and adjustments and things you have to do to make it work in harmony. I mean, they can be very possessive over what's there, so when you add another dog into a household with a cattle dog, it takes a lot to make it work. I can't stress that enough. I'm not sure if I'm even explaining it correctly, but think really hard before you do what I do. Like, I don't even know how some of the people that watch this channel have 10, because 5 in a house was my max at one point. Like, I can't, or maybe it was 4 at one time. I don't know. Either way, like 4 is a lot to deal with, like trying to make sure that they are all getting along and things like that. I almost feel like 2 cattle dogs in a house is manageable. Once you get to 3 and 4, etc., then you really have to like bring your A game, I guess, on dog training. But anyway, I hope that helps in your decision whether or not you're going to get a cattle dog or not. And I hope that you remember that everything you see on this channel has been, you know, a lot of time and effort into making sure things run smoothly. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to click the like and subscribe button, and we will see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye. Should we go do fun stuff? You want to do some fun stuff? Want to do some fun stuff with Mama? Go pull some weeds? Maybe do some chucketing? Oh! Clea, do you want to go play with the chucket?